You're listening to That Home Loan Hub. I'm Zibuni Salimova, here to make home loans and property investing simple, smart, and stress-free. Let's get you closer to your property dreams. If you were wondering whether you need a builder's report or not when you're doing purchase of a home, whether it's for you or for investment property, this is the episode for you. So listen up. I've got Evan Cardwell from Checkhome Building Inspections. Hello, Evan.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
We met briefly last week and we were talking about the importance of building reports.
Yes.
So this is up your valley.
Yep.
What do you do?
So my job is to go in and assess a house. So I do pre-purchase, pre-sale, maintenance reports, healthy homes, pretty much any check that you need on the house I can complete. So yeah, we go in, assess the house, do interior, exterior, subfloor, roof space, site, moisture testing, and yeah, we kind of just do a full assessment of the house.
Do you climb under the floors and into the roof space?
Yep.
Wow.
If I can get in, then I will. And if I can't get on the roof, then we use drones.
Yeah, I guess technology makes your life a little bit easier now compared to back in the day.
Absolutely. It is definitely difficult, especially with like high-pitched roofs.
Yeah.
Where we can only access it from ladders from around the perimeter. But when it comes to drones, then we can get a full kind of scope of the actual roof. We can blow up the photos when we write up the reports on our computers and get a really good sense of, how it's functioning and if there are any hidden risk areas that you just can't see from the side.
Yeah, because like a lot of our buyers are first-time buyers.
Yep.
They have no idea what they're doing and they normally would be buying an older property because not many of them can afford a new build straight away. So what we're finding is a lot of builders' reports come back with roof damage, whether it's roof that needs repair or if it's leaking already, whatever. Is that what are you finding in terms of common issues?
It depends on obviously the style of the roof. Mm-hmm. When it comes to houses up the Kapiti coast, there's a lot of dichromatic roof tile, like metal roof tiles, concrete tiles as well. But the main issues: dented, cracked tiles, surface rust deterioration, and especially actually in the Kapiti coast, there's a definite larger kind of stock of hidden gutter systems, like class fascia hidden gutter systems. So that's when the gutter is on the inside of the eaves rather than on the exterior.
Why would someone do that?
Terrible design from the 90s, early 2000s.
Because I'm like, that doesn't even make sense in my head. Why would you hide a gutter that you need to clean?
Exactly. Yeah. So that is one of the specific reasons why you should be getting builders reports, because there are so many hidden factors when it comes to building designs and just trying to gauge if that's functioning. Even if it's a terrible design, it could still be working. So just making sure that the buyers or sellers know if it's in place, what the condition is, what kind of maintenance and repairs may be required. We don't really do any cost kind of stuff. You'd have to get an actual
separate quote for that.
Yeah. That would absolutely be a conflict of interest.
Yeah. Which makes
but
sense.
Yeah, it's quite interesting just going in and seeing all these different risk areas on a house. You probably wouldn't realize
with the naked eye.
Yeah. I mean, there's typically around about, I think it's about 40 to 45 different risk areas on any dwelling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a curly one for you. Who orders the report? The vendors or the purchasers?
It depends on, I guess, how the house is being sold. So the majority at the moment seem to be purchasers. When it comes to pre-sales, we're really only seeing pre-sale reports being ordered if they know that there's kind of maintenance needing done on the house and they want to do that maintenance or repairs prior to going to the market, or if they're going to be going to auction. So they're trying to present all the information as much as possible to the potential buyers, so then they're not holding up any purchases by doing due diligence and stuff like that when it comes to auction. So,
but would you still recommend to the buyers to do their own report?
Yeah. So when it comes to our reports, what we do, the only difference between a pre-purchase and a pre-sale for us is literally the name of the report. There's no difference in the actual contents and the content of the building inspection. So it's very unbiased. We go in, it's as factual as possible, assess the house. If there's no issues, great. If there are issues, we break down what the issues are, where they are, hopefully how to fix it if it's within our scope. And then, hopefully that kind of gets it across the board.
Because often again, like clients come to me and go, oh, there's already a builder's report done. Do I need to get my own? And look, normally the banks don't require clients to produce a builder's report unless they've specified in the finance condition that, part of the finance also, they need to get builder's report done. And only then the banks will really ask for it. But normally we don't. So I usually leave it up to the buyers and I go, do it for your own sake, do it for your own due diligence, because in my experience, when I was buying houses, and especially older houses, I definitely did builder's report. But what I'm also seeing is a lot of new builds, especially up in Auckland. I do encourage those buyers as well to get their own builder's report, even if it's a new build.
Yeah, I did a new build inspection, would have been a couple of months ago, and it all looked okay. I got some elevated moisture in the house, and sometimes the standard moisture levels are slightly elevated if they've just finished plastering and painting. So you can kind of gauge what the baseline reading is. But I was getting extreme elevated moisture readings. I got my thermal camera out and the walls just lit up blue. So they were holding moisture. You get out to the outside and you see that there's no eaves, so that's a bit of a risk area, and couldn't really see any moisture damage or anything, but there was definitely leaking happening from the roof, and that was 2 days after we had quite a large storm. So something was failing, whether or not it was the gutters filled up because they just couldn't handle the amount of water shedding from the roof. And then with the wind, it could have been driving it back up into the roof space. And because there's no eaves, that literally just hits the side of the dwelling and comes down inside the walls. So, definitely get building inspections done on new builds, because you are seeing, I'm seeing quite a lot of new builds where workmanship isn't great.
The corners are being cut. It's almost like the repeat of 2000 era.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more safeguards.
Definitely.
But absolutely, there's. It's hard because obviously property developers, they're trying to make money. Obviously, the builders are trying to make money as well, but they're getting capped on, how much like the labor cost is going to be on that dwelling. So they're trying to smash it out as quick as possible. And it's also difficult because you go into a development and there's a couple of blocks. Each block has, 3 to 5 kind of townhouses on it. Each block is getting built by different builders quite often. So you could have one block with a set of builders that are great because the builders are great. And then you could go to a different one and it's different builders and they've just tried to cut corners, maybe not cut corners, but try to finish it as quick as possible, and the workmanship isn't as great. And then you definitely see builders that don't really take too much care. I've done inspections, quality control inspections during a building phase where I was helping out for the engineering sign-off, and it was a 3-story townhouse section with 8 townhouses all in a row in Kapiti Coast here, and there were about 70 or 80 townhouses being built. One block, you could see that the builders were amazing. They'd spray painted out where all their bolts were going into the ground. where missing fixings needed to go. So they were onto it. They had whiteboards and processes and all that stuff. And then you go to the next block and the roof had been installed. You go into the very bottom floor and the steel portal, so a big steel column. I'd pushed it and it wobbled and it wasn't attached to any of the timber framing. And you're like, how is this even possible? Because this should be fixed in place prior to the roof going on. This is a load-bearing structure and it's not bearing any load at the moment. What are you doing? So yeah, there are definitely issues around who's doing the building. So
what happens in that case?
Well, I mean,
do they have to dismantle everything and start again? Or?
No, it just needed to be fixed. So it needed to be bolted together and then strapped with timber. But the other parts on that were they'd not put solid blocking underneath the first to second level framing. So the bolts from the actual frames going down were just going into the flooring. They weren't going into anything solid. And seeing all these bolts poking through the floor, you're like, what are you doing? Again, this is the structural element of the build. You need to stop. They pulled out all the bolts. The foreman came over, told them that they needed to put in the blocking. They started putting in blocking, waited for the foreman to walk off, and then just started putting the bolts back in the same hole. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing, man? Like, you can't do that. Because I'm there assessing for the engineering element of it. Yeah, it's just it was pretty eye-opening. They got kicked off site, so that was fine. So
it just brings a whole new meaning to the floating floors, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow, this is crazy. Because, I did hear of one horrific story up in Auckland. They were saying that the certain builders at the foundation stage, apparently you have to have like a metal mesh or something like that.
Yep.
And before you pour the concrete, the council has to come and check it off and go, yep, the metal mesh is there.
Yep.
And then the council comes in, checks off, walks away, and they literally grab that metal mesh and go to the next site and put it onto the next build. So
I have definitely heard the story, and down in Christchurch as well. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't really check.
No.
But it's wild that if they're doing that and it comes to the pour, surely there should be some kind of liability on the concrete company to say, why are you letting them pour the concrete if there's no steel in place? And I know that there are some slabs that maybe don't need it, and the concrete guys, they just drive the trucks. I get it, but it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is. So just quickly back to the builders' reports and stuff. Often people ask me, what sort of report do we need? Because I believe there are various types of reports. There's verbal, there is written, there is comprehensive. I don't know. Tell me about you and what sort of reports you can provide for the clients.
So all our reports are written and they're all comprehensive. There's no kind of middle ground there. If there's a defect or something that needs to be assessed during the inspection, then it goes in the report. I mean, we can do verbals, but I mean, you're not going to get anything from it really, other than if there are issues, you'll know about it, but there's nothing in writing. So I just don't understand why someone would want to go for a verbal rather than a written report. Yeah.
I love seeing builders' reports that identify future maintenance bits, because I find that, like, as a buyer, there might be no huge red flags. So you still want to buy that house. You buy that house, but at least you've got like a checklist or to-do list when you buy the house, going, okay, in the next 6 months we need to do this, in the next 12 months we need to do that, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, it is difficult on that part because it's so subjective. So what I think could be different to what the next building inspector thinks compared to what the owner thinks. So unless you're certain of what the kind of time frames are, you have to be really careful about saying that, because again, different building products degrade at different rates as well. And I know that it's really common to get maintenance reports, especially if you've got like a 2-story house maybe, and you just can't get up there, and maybe you're not savvy yourself. And you get a maintenance report, and the report comes back pretty clean. There's a couple of items, maybe, some lichen growth on the roof and maybe a little bit of paint deterioration. And you might get another maintenance report done in 2-3 years' time to see how it's going, and it's fine again, a little bit more. And then if you get it again, the rate of decay on that paint could just rapidly increase, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, why is this so bad compared to the last time? I've got another one where I've been helping with a long-term maintenance plan for a body corp, and assessing what the different building material types are, breaking it down into, their actual life, like the life of the building product. So macrocarpa weatherboards compared to, steel or colour steel cladding as well. Colour steel cladding is going to, last probably 40 years, probably even more, but, whatever the warranty came on that, whether or not it was 20, 35, they can go up to 50 years now. Whereas the macrocarpa has a shelf building life of 20, and you're probably going to have to get it replaced because maybe around the 15-year mark, it'll start to cup and warp, and you'll start to see gaps on the cladding. So, yeah, it's interesting how rapidly something can change, because those weatherboards right now look absolutely fine, and they'll probably look fine for the next 5 to 10 years, and then you'll see a massive deterioration over the next couple of years after that. So, yeah, it's really interesting.
Okay. So with your job, what would be the favorite part of your day?
Doing the inspections itself. I mean, writing the reports kind of suck, but...
I was hoping you're going to say, I love sitting down writing reports.
No, I mean, I've been building since 2016, and I've been building inspector for the last just over 3 years. Being able to bring all my knowledge of building, and because I've been a builder and I know exactly how a building is put together, being able to bring all that information and knowledge into my building inspections is really cool. The processes are exactly the same on every single inspection that we do, but every house is different. So that's where the cool part is. I could inspect 2 townhouses in the same development, different blocks, and the inspections would be completely different. So that's the cool part of my job.
I love that. And then I guess the sucky part is when you have to sit down and write the reports.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, we've got processes in place where it definitely helps, and it doesn't take too long. If the house, even if the house has, maintenance issues and stuff, most of our reports are done on site. So I'd say, 90 to 95% of the job is done on site. The cool part is walking around doing the inspection. I can just talk into my phone. It dictates what I'm saying, and then I can just clean it up on the computer when we get home. The hard part is if I'm doing a a pre-purchase, and the vendor's home or the agent's home, you don't want to be talking into your phone too much, because you don't want to be saying all these issues, and they could take that out of context and kind of blow it out of proportion, I guess. So yeah, it is one of those tricky parts. If I'm there by myself, or if the agent's just sitting in their car or inside, then it's great, because the reports definitely don't take that long to kind of tidy up when I get home. Yeah, it's...
How much liability do builders inspectors carry?
Ooh, I think I myself have 2 million in liability when it comes to our reports, visual inspections only. So when I'm doing the inspection, if I can't see it, then I can't comment on it. if something is discovered after the fact and I didn't have access to, say, the roof space, and there's leaking through the roof and there's no real visual cues that there could be from the exterior, then yeah, I'm not liable for that because I can't get into the roof space. So that's why it's so important to try and get everywhere in a house when I'm doing an inspection.
I'll tell you my favorite story. I always mention it in the webinars and in my conversations with people. We bought a house in Paraparaumu 10 years ago, 11. I always go by the age of my second child.
Yes.
He was born in Palmerston North and then we moved to Paraparaumu when he was 2 weeks old. So we bought that house. We had a builder's report done on it. And then literally a month moving in, I come home one day and there's water pouring down from the lights. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Apparently the house had Ducks Quest piping.
Oh, no.
And it was never picked up on the builder's report. And just blew my mind. So we had to get insurance claims. We had to renovate a couple of bedrooms and this and that. But it was funny because I rang the builder trying to find out how come they never put it on a report, because then insurance said to me, we'll cover it this time, but going forward, we're not going to cover any more damage from the Ducks Quest, and you have to change all the piping, basically. So I rang the builders trying to find out why they didn't, and just bring it to their attention, really, to make sure that next time they are doing the report to do it a bit more thoroughly. And his wife answered, and he passed away. So it was kind of awkward.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, sorry, sorry to bother you. No, nothing. I didn't want to say anything. That was awkward. So safe to say the guy probably, got away with that one.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But there was one lesson I've learned, and I always say to my clients, make sure, if you are buying an older property, double check the piping, because if it is Ducks Quest, it's got a long history in New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, it's a condemned building product. It's not a matter of if it's going to burst, it's a matter of when it's going to burst.
Yeah. And a lot of people have no idea.
No. It is hard, though, not identifying it. If you can find the black pipe, you can only identify the Ducks Quest if it literally has Ducks Quest written on it, because there are black pressure pipes out there
that are not Ducks Quest.
No. And there's Acorn plumbing as well, so it looks black. You shine a light on it and it's actually got a brown tinge to it as well. But that won't have Ducks Quest written on it. So
here you go, guys. This is a tip for you, for those that are doing building inspections and you didn't know. Shine the light.
Shine the light. But yeah, I mean, if plumbing is covered by insulation, especially up in the roof space, that's quite a common one. If they've retrofitted the insulation blankets, so that just goes over top of all the ceiling joists and rafters not rafters. Yeah, then that covers all wiring, all plumbing. And so you literally can't see anything. And a lot of the time, and it is very common, especially in ex rentals as well, because they've had to bring it up to the healthy home standard. Then you get up into the roof space manhole and insulation's covering everything. I can't walk around up there because I don't want to put my foot through the ceiling and cause a whole bunch of damage. So I just do a visual inspection from the manhole. It's more common to be able to find it in the subfloor as well, because they won't really be going through. They'll have the piping clipped to the underneath of the joist, so they're always visible. So it is fairly easy to identify the type of plumbing in the subfloor if you have a subfloor.
That's a good one to know. But for me, the insurance wanted us to get the plumber in to assess, but the plumber was like, well, the only way for me to assess if the rest of the house has this sort of plumbing is to actually cut into the wall.
Cut and pull it, yeah.
And have a look. And I was like, no, thanks. Don't do that. And we left that house. We sold that house. We did say to the agent that, it's got probably Ducks Quest, etc. They sold it, and I believe the new lady that bought it, literally a month into her living in there, the pipes burst as well. So it seems...
It doesn't cost that much to upgrade plumbing, and for the amount of damage that it can cause, it's one of those things that you should absolutely do.
Do you know which era they were using the Ducks Quest?
It's most common in the 80s. It's sometimes it can show up in early 90s and late 70s, but it's mainly in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Right. We talked about the plumbing. We talked about the dodgy building. What else do you see out there when you do your reports?
Common. I did a recent building inspection, and the house was pretty good condition. It was a 1910s house that had been shifted in the 90s, so all new piles in the subfloor. So they'd done some renovations on the inside, and it was generally like well maintained inside and out. The issue was when I got into the subfloor. So when I got into the subfloor, and the space was tiny to get into, and so I had to really squeeze through that access hatch. But once you're in the subfloor, then it was, more than enough room. There were bearers that were sitting on like maybe 10 centimeters on a pile. So that's the bearer is the load bearing element in the subfloor. All the joists sit on top of that. So all the load is sitting on just 10 mil, of bearer on the pile. So that was quite interesting. Seeing plumbing cut through bearers as well. So 110 mil PVC pipe running straight through a bearer. So that was interesting. Borer damage, it was quite significant. I could put my thumb through a bearer and it just exploded. And as soon as I did that, I felt immediately unsafe. So
I was about to say the house could have collapsed on you.
Yeah, once you see that, you definitely don't start poking around anymore. Do
you need insurance? I know some people that can give you life insurance.
Oh, I've got great life insurance. I'm probably worth more dead to my wife than alive, to be honest. So yeah,
wow, that's a crazy story. So what do people do in that case?
That one's hard because one of the only ways to really fix that issue, they'll have to probably jack the house up.
Yeah.
Maybe run new bearers where they need to, but either they can't really rip out the old joists because you don't know what's above them really. So you're probably going to have to strap a whole bunch of new joists to the old ones. Yeah, that's a hard one because the fix is straightforward. It's not easy. And the cost of it, I don't even know where to start. So that one is a bit more in the hard basket. And I actually don't know if the purchasers went through with the...
Wow. We had an interesting one. We had clients do a builder's report and it showed some issues and they pulled out and then the storm happened and the house was in Lower Hutt and the storm happened and the house actually flooded quite badly. And they messaged us saying, thank God we didn't buy that because the builder's report identified those issues for them that if the flood happens, if the rain happens, whatever, the house was quite in danger of it happening. And sure enough, it did happen. So those building reports that people get, they do actually carry a bit of value to them.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard, especially in Paraparaumu at the moment, because a lot of the sections are nice and flat, right? So you'd assume that any flooding, it would kind of shed from the property and the stormwater systems will, take that load. And that's why you really need access to the LIM report to see if there is, a 1 in 100 year chance of flood risks and accessing the flood maps and seeing if the house is in danger, because during the inspection, we don't have access to that kind of data. It looks kind of okay. It might be a bit flat, but definitely see if it's in a flood zone. I do know that there are occasions where insurance companies will charge through the nose if the corner of your property is in a flood zone, just to get a little bit more. I did an inspection in Korori probably 2 years ago, and the section was on a hill, on a slight slope, and the house was at the top third of the section, and the bottom corner of the section was in a flood zone. And the owner, it was a maintenance report, the owner told me that their insurance tripled.
Whoa.
Because apparently the new data came out that their property is now in a flood zone. So the insurance company just tripled their insurance overnight, which was, ooh.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I've got one of my clients, he's actually working on the whole AI modeling for that whole flooding and stuff, because some of those maps are actually a bit iffy and they're not really right. Because if you look at it, like half of Kapiti is in the flood zone.
Yep.
But is it actually? So he's doing a lot of modeling at the moment for the whole New Zealand.
Yep.
And what is actually in the flood zone, and working with insurance companies to make sure they use the latest information, because a lot of insurance companies, and I remember back in the day I rang one company and they were in Australia. They had no idea, they're like, oh, well, there's a river next to you. I mean, the river was like miles away.
Yeah.
But because they were looking on Google Maps, they were thinking that the river was right there. So the chances of it exploding and flooding was quite high. So, so then my insurance was doubling as well. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, we've seen an increase in insurance inspections where insurance companies want us to essentially do a report, say what the potential risks are, and then they'll use that report to say, yep, cool, we'll grant insurance, or use that report to essentially up the insurance costs. I did one in Eastbourne for a lady that didn't realise that her insurance company had cancelled her insurance.
Oof.
And so her house was uninsured for about 2 months before she realised. And they needed an urgent builder's report. They changed insurance companies. But the cool part of that inspection was she actually worked for GNS. So she did all the flood mapping, and she was telling me that insurance companies, because it's all free data, were using that data almost out of context to justify increases. And whether or not that's true, I don't know. But
totally. That's why my client is now doing that.
Absolutely, that makes sense, because insurance rates and premiums and stuff is just skyrocketing.
Have you done much work with the houses in Wellington? You just reminded me after that, because that sort of died out in the news. You know how the sewage exploded? What is that place?
Yeah.
Man.
Out in Moa Point?
Yeah. And then apparently all the ship was flying to the houses with the salt water.
I haven't done any inspections like that. Thank goodness. But
I wonder how that will affect the building and the cladding and stuff. Because it's one thing getting salt water blown on your house, but it's another
honestly,
thing getting
I wouldn't even know.
Crap on your house, literally.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be good. Yeah.
No, and it sort of died off in the news. I don't know what's going on now, but as far as I understood, it was still flowing into the water because the pipe was...
I mean, I don't know. It may still be. I mean, it's still probably leaking, but levels might be safe. So,
well, I wouldn't be sitting outside on my deck drinking coffee.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that if I was there.
Bit worrying, to be honest, but
it does. So, quick question for you in terms of if you're buying a house for yourself, what's your preference? What sort of house would you go for personally? Knowing everything you know, seeing everything you've seen, what sort of house would you buy?
It is a great question. I actually don't have a preference. I guess the thing is that as long as I know the risks on a house, mainly would just suit, what my lifestyle is. So currently I've got a young family, I've got 2 dogs. Ideally, it would be more like a lifestyle block for me at the moment. But in terms of the actual dwelling that's on it, I mean, currently the house that I have, half the cladding is asbestos cladding.
How did you do that?
Well, I know the risks of it. So as long as I keep it maintained and I keep paint coating nice, and it's not a massive risk.
It's funny you say that, because sometimes I get clients that do builders report and they come out to me freaking out, going, "Oh, there's asbestos in the ceiling," and I'm like, "Well, are you going to go smashing the ceiling when you buy the house?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, as far as I understand, I'm not a building inspector and I'm not a builder, and I always take that responsibility off me. But I says, for as much as I know, what has been explained to me over the years is that as long as you don't touch asbestos, like as long as you don't go smashing it.
Yeah, don't drill a hole and lick it,
Yeah. Right? I mean, you're not going to do that. So hopefully.
I mean, it definitely carries more risk being inside. The chance of disturbing like the popcorn style asbestos ceilings is a lot higher. You can't replace any lighting because you can't drill any holes in the roof and in the ceiling and stuff. So there is a little bit more of a higher risk, but as long as you understand the risk, like you said, it's going to be okay.
Did you know in Russia they still build roads with asbestos?
I mean, Russians are built different to us, though, eh?
More resilient.
Yeah.
It kind of cracks me up because in Russia they still use asbestos a lot.
I mean,
It's
the
a great
crazy part
product.
is it's a fantastic product. It's naturally fire resistant. It's weather like enduring. You can see why it absolutely was used. It's just, if you break up the material, those fibers will, it's massive health risk. So
I'm still laughing about I still got the popcorn roof in my mind, the visual of popcorn ceiling.
well, yeah, it absolutely looks like popcorn. So
Okay, and in terms of, there was another thing I was going to ask you that we just completely deviated to that. With the new builds and stuff, what common problems that you see in terms of cladding these days? Like, for instance, my house, it's got plaster, right? But it's not that monolithic plaster that used to be.
Technically,
It is,
this
right?
is a monolithic style,
Yes.
but I would assume that it's on a cavity system, so it
I hope
alleviates
so.
it alleviates a lot of the risk.
It was only built 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Well, it definitely will be on a cavity system.
But like, I've got cedar as well, and that was not my preferred option for maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, cedar definitely weathers a lot quicker than, I assume that it's like untreated. Oh, not untreated, but is it stained or is it
It's
painted?
stained. Yeah.
So yeah, you just have to keep on top of the maintenance.
How often do I need to stain it? I'm getting free advice, guys.
I would assume that it's every like 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're probably due to get it stained soon.
Yeah, I got it.
It depends
stained.
on the product manufacturer's like specifications on it and what was used and stuff. So
I did get it sorted on one side of the house that faces the ocean because I found that side got quite
the north and west facing
the sun and the salt.
Yeah.
I think it just affected it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the time, if you're going to use cedar, and I guess this comes down to a design point, you shouldn't really be putting cedar on the north or western face of the dwelling because that gets the most sun, and you're going to get natural cupping and just more rapid deterioration. So put it on the hidden sides. Yes, you'll most likely get a little bit of like lichen growth. So cedar grows like a red lichen. It's really fine. Some people really like the look, but it holds moisture, and that's what causes faster deterioration to it. But you're not going to get the cupping and warping and splitting on the weatherboards like that. So you can do chemical washes, and you can buy that from 1 or 10 placemakers and do it yourself if you want to, or you can get a company to come in and do it. But as long as you keep on top of that cedar cladding on the southern and eastern faces are going to last way longer than what it would on the north and western faces.
How long does cedar last?
Oh, if it's well maintained, it could easily last up to 50 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes me feel a
It
bit
probably has more like a 30-year kind of life. But yeah, it all depends on maintenance and my experience. New Zealand homeowners aren't great with maintenance on their own houses. Yeah.
Did you know ANZ actually just came out with a loan offer, 2.5% for renovations?
Wow.
And that can be anything. So up to 50K, 80K, can't remember. I think it was up to 80K, 2.5%, which is really, really cool. So I'm encouraging a lot of clients that, buy a home, if they've still got enough equity, find out what needs to really happen to the house.
Yep.
And actually get it done.
The biggest, most costly renovation, most often that needs to happen on a dwelling would be something to do with the roof. So if it's an older roof, getting it replaced, half of that will be eaten up with a replacement.
Yeah. Because the roofs are easy 25, 35K
Yeah.
on the average house.
But with the newer products out there, so they used to have two products. They used to have Endura and Max, Color Steel Endura and Max, and now they've shifted to just Maxam. But that product can get, the warranty can go all the way up to, I think it's 40, it might even be 50 years in some areas. So what they do is the roofer will apply for a warranty prior to the roof going on, and the guys at Color Steel will assess the location of where the house is and, you know, the environmental factors, and then they'll give a product warranty based on the location. So, for instance, I'm in Upper Hutt. I'm looking at getting a new roof put on my house. I'm going to use the Maxim, and I think I can get 36 years warranty on my roof.
But what if you install solar onto your roof? Does that void the warranty?
I haven't heard that there. I haven't heard a case where it would void it, but I mean, I never really come up, so I'm not.
Interesting view though, because if they're walking around on the roof, fiddling with it, installing stuff on it.
So I mean, that would definitely, if they install it wrong. So I've just been to do an inspection on a house where solar panels were installed, and the back bracket, the top bracket, the screws, you can see some of them screwed down properly into the roof, and then some are screwed on an angle, and you go inside, and this isn't a garage, so luckily it's not the be all end all. It's not leaking into the house or anything, but it's still not ideal. And you look up and you can see there's holes through the roof paper, and then screws missing the purlins. And so, and during the big storm, there obviously was enough water to just be pumping through. And as soon as it made its way into one of those little holes, it just filled up the roofing paper underneath it. The roofing paper sagged, and there was a spare 4x2 lying around, and I just poked up, and all the water just came spilling out. Yeah. And I was like, right, so that's definitely not the roofer's fault, because that's a screw from the solar installers. So at least we know, at least the vendors know who to blame.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would obviously be an issue. It needs to be fixed, but the product warranty is different to the installation warranty. So there's two separate things.
Okay.
So if the product fails, then it's on the supplier to replace. And if it's an installation fault, then the installer is liable for that, not the product. So they'll probably have to replace the product and the new installation. Yeah. So double the cost for them.
Nice.
Great being a business owner.
Nice. Love it. You actually reminded me maybe I should check my roof and see if there is any warranties, because being a newer house, it will have.
Oh, 100% will. Yeah, it should have come with. Yeah, it should be in your documents.
In my documents, yeah. Because I remember when the roofers were installing the roof, and the guy that did my roof, he's quite experienced. He's been around for ages. He's a very, very experienced dude. And he said to me, this has been the longest roof he's ever installed.
Yeah.
Because it was like one single sheet that was just so long. He said he's never done a roof that long before.
Yeah, I was, back when I had a building company, I was doing a build, and the design on the roof, the extension that we were doing, it was 120 square meter extension, and I think it was about 19 meters long, the extension, and the designer, the architect, had specified long run sheeting. And so this was up in Normandale. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Normandale. Really windy road getting up there, and you physically couldn't get a 19 meter sheet on a truck getting up the road to deliver it to site. The only way possible would have been to get a helicopter
it in. I was just thinking that.
Which is absolutely wild, and a massive cost that the owners couldn't afford. So we had to go back to the designer and get it split into two sheets and have a join halfway down the roof, which isn't ideal, but the lap was like 1 meter long, so there's definitely no way that the water's going to get up there. But yeah.
Wow. Because at the moment you said Normandale, I was just imagining the
it's
wine
right
down
up the top as well.
Wow.
So.
And do you think there is sometimes a disconnect between what the architects design and what the builders have to deliver?
100%. I find that...
No disrespect to architects, by the way. Because I do have some architects as guests.
I find that when it comes to the design element, they love producing a wicked looking product, right? And as a builder, you definitely want to build that, but sometimes it's just not feasible. And the roof instance is the prime example of that. Why design a roof with a 19-meter sheet? Sure, it can absolutely go on the building, but they don't think about the process of getting it from the supplier to site. And then just the installation as well. Imagine lifting up a 19-meter sheet. You're going to need how many guys on site just to lift it up onto the roof, and just crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to think how they did it here, because you can tell how tall the house is.
Yeah, I mean, they would have just had a crane around. Yeah. It's there definitely needs to be the best architects that I've dealt with, and I've worked quite closely with a few. They have building experience, and when you don't have building experience on site, you almost don't understand how it is to build the product, and it's really difficult when it comes to that stage. Then you're going back for more detailed designs. And the best architect that I've worked with, when I had my building company, he would call me up and ask how I wanted to build it. So then he would design it for that way. And it was a really good working relationship.
That's awesome, because what I'm seeing as well is that a lot of builders reports that come back are usually the worst ones I've seen are from the architecturally designed houses that haven't built properly, like the architect vision and a builder's skill somehow. Yeah, something went wrong there.
It's always interesting doing building inspection on a architecturally designed house, and I do the air quotes for a reason, because it's not. They're just always awful to inspect, because when it's an architecturally designed house, they always try and push the envelope, and that ends up creating weird junctions where a normal design wouldn't have that risk area, and they're creating risk areas for the sake of a look. But in an environment in New Zealand where we're exposed to coastal sea sprays, heavy winds, and just the different building products that we use, those risk areas are just going to naturally fail over time. And creating a specific risk area, not knowing how it's going to perform over time, you're going to get rapid deterioration, and it's going to end up being an issue. It may not be an issue for a long time, and it may exceed the life of, everything else around it. But if it's unproven, it's a bit hard.
It is a bit risky.
Yeah.
Evan, we've been talking for almost an hour.
Oh, wow.
So we've done well. I think I should have you back, and we could break down and some stories, just really look into case studies and see where things went well for people and when things didn't really go well. I would love to have you back.
Sweet.
So thank you so much for coming in. And listeners, if you do have any specific questions that you want us to cover, please continue to send them through to us. Would love to see what's important to you so we can cover it in our podcast. Thank you so much, Evan.
Thank you for having me.
See you again.
See ya.
And that's a wrap on That Home Loan Hub. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join me next time for more property tips and tricks. Your next smart move starts here.